Good evening. Welcome to Washington. I'm Brett Baer. 50 days into the Trump presidency, there are growing concerns about how the U.S. will deal with its friends and foes on the Korean peninsula following the removal of the South's already impeached president from office. That move comes as tensions soar in the region over the North's aggressive nuclear and missile programs and its ongoing defiance of the U.S. and the UN and even traditional ally China, testing missiles that, if successful, might be able to reach the U.S. Correspondent Rich Edson is watching the situation tonight from the State Department. Good evening, Rich.
Good evening, Brett. And as Secretary of State Rex Tillerson travels next week to address an aggressive North Korea, he will meet with the South Korean government that is on its way out. This is after a South Korean court this morning removed from office President Park Geun-hye after a corruption scandal, as her supporters rallied in front of the courthouse protesting the decision. South Korean law says the country must elect a new president in 60 days. An acting State Department spokesman Mark Toner says, in the meantime, quote, "We will continue to work with Prime Minister Hwang for the remainder of his tenure as acting president, and we look forward to a productive relationship with whomever the people of South Korea elect to be their next president. This is a domestic issue on which the United States takes no position." And while that domestic issue consumes much of the South Korean government, the acting president says he is still focused on its northern neighbor, its nuclear tests, and ballistic missile provocations.
The current security situation of the Korean peninsula is very urgent and serious. Even a moment of carelessness or a single mistake is not acceptable.
The State Department says the U.S. will continue to meet its alliance commitments, especially with respect to defending against the North Korean threat. And as Secretary Tillerson travels next week to Tokyo, Seoul, and Beijing, he will do so without reporters on his plane. Given the challenges of keeping up with the Secretary of State on a trip with multiple stops, Tillerson's predecessors have invited reporters to travel on their planes. The White House says there is an element of cost savings in the decision, even though news organizations pay to send their crews. And during his time as secretary, Tillerson has also refused to answer any journalist questions or agree to an interview. In response to all this, Brett, the State Department says that the secretary will allow journalists to travel in his motorcade and offer support when they come to Asia to cover him, and that he will also be available to ask questions or answer questions from journalists. Fox News will be in Asia for that. Back to you.
We'll cover every aspect. Rich Edson live at the State Department. Rich, thank you.